Hello and welcome back to your mat. I'm Jillian, your guide today. And today I'm so excited about the class because I have really designed it for those who used to have a regular yoga practice, but since having children or maybe another life circumstance have not been able to practice and are getting back into it, or don't have the time to go to a class. So this is something that you can do at home without the drive time, and that is going to help you meet yourself where you're at now, which may be different from what it used to be, which that's okay. For this practice, it would be great if you could get your mat against a wall. We will be using that for a wall vinyasa, which I'm also very excited about. And you may find a couple of blocks useful. And then something to sit on, some stacked blankets, towels, a bolster, whatever you have, but just so that you can elevate your hips above your knees and you're not sitting directly on the mat. Even if you have the flexibility, we can't help but round our low back when we are sitting right on the floor. So something a little elevated will help you to bring your low back into its natural curve. So find yourself those props, get yourself seated, and then close your eyes if it feels comfortable, or soften your gaze. And rock your pubic bone forward and down so that you do feel that natural curve in your low spine. Bring your shoulders over your hips, rooting down through your sit bones as you reach through the crown of your head, lifting from the back of your skull to bring your chin parallel to the earth. And just begin to notice your breath. Follow the inhalations and exhalations without changing them. Just drawing away from the outside world and drawing inward. And on your next inhalation, take a deep breath. Really expand your rib cage 360 degrees in all directions, opening like an umbrella. And then slow your exhalation, pushing out all the air, really lengthening it so it's longer than the inhalation. And when you feel like you have no air left to give, squeeze out just a little bit more, feeling the contraction of your belly, everything hugging to the midline. And then resume normal breath. One more like that. Inhale, fill your lungs to their full capacity, really expanding your rib cage. And then a slow, steady exhalation, pushing all the air out until there's none left to give. Feeling the tightening around your belly as you push out just a little bit more. And resume normal breath. Flutter your eyes open. And we'll come to all fours. And the contraction of your abdominal muscles that you experienced at the end of the exhalation is something I want you to keep in mind as we're practicing, so that when we're engaging our abdominal muscles, it is a hugging in sensation and not a pushing out through the front of the abdomen. All right, so come onto all fours, line up the creases of your wrists with the front of your shoulders, knees under hips, and then initiating the movement with the pelvis. Inhale, tailbone lifts toward the ceiling, belly drops, rolling through the vertebra, bringing your chest between your shoulders as you glance to the top of your mat. Exhale, tuck your tailbone under. Now it's moving in the direction of the floor.
as you round your back, really exaggerating the spread between your shoulder blades, pushing the mat away. Inhale. Pubic bone moves down, tailbone moves up. Roll through your spine. Breathing into your side ribs as you glance to the top of the mat. Exhale. Pushing the mat away. Moving at your pace and just taking as many of these as feels satisfying to you. And on your inhalation, really focus on that expansion into your side ribs. So it's not the sensation of your back body pushing down into your front body, but a widening and an expansion. And then when you have completed your last round, come to a neutral spine. And we're going to start by priming the pump for asana. So we want to work the major muscle groups of our body, get them turned on and ready to receive the movement of the asana. So come on down to your forearms. We're going right into forearm plank. And then with your shoulders over your elbows, feel free to add a blanket under your knees if your mat is not cushiony. Walk your knees back until you feel your abdomen engage. So you can tuck your tailbone under here to feel that sensation of hugging in your belly. You're drawing your belly organs in and down into the seat of the pelvis as you're pushing the mat away. Your shoulders are wrapping around you like wings, still breathing into your side body. Belly button lifted, and then the action of bringing your elbows and your knees together without moving them. Resting whenever you need to. And I'll give you another option for this too. If you feel like you want to come up into full forearm plank, you can scoot yourself back a little bit and put your feet up against the wall and use the wall for some traction so that you're really pressing your heels into the wall and engaging all the muscles of your back body. But really not being mindful not to sag down. If you feel like you're losing the integrity of the posture, then that's your body's indication to come down. Okay, I think we've probably all had enough of that now. So now stay on all fours, and you might need to walk yourself up away from the wall a little bit, depending on how tall you are. I don't have to walk myself up that much. And then extend your right leg behind you, tucking the toes of your right foot under. And then with your inhalation, shift your weight forward as you lift your right leg up to hip height. Really engage through your glutes. So keep that back leg straight and strong. Hold your belly organs in so that you're not pushing out through the front of the belly. And then if it feels comfortable to you, you can go ahead and extend your left arm forward. Breathing here. Slow, steady breaths. Always listening to your body. So if you need to come down, come down. You don't have to wait for me to end the posture. And then lower the pair. Switching sides. Exhale. Press your left heel back, toes tucked under. Feel the stretch in your calf. And then shift your weight forward, being mindful that the wrist crease is still lined up with the front of the shoulders and not directly under. And then lift your left leg up to hip height. Send the work right into your glute. Strong, straight leg, like you want to kick the wall behind you. Breathing, if it feels comfortable, add the opposite arm, palm facing toward the midline, belly engaged, really getting lots of length between left feet and right fingertips. Breathing. And then coming on down.
All right, so now let's just do side plank. Side plank will be great to turn on our obliques, our glute med. So coming down onto your forearm now, placing your elbow underneath your shoulder, and your knees can be bent at whatever distance feels comfortable to you. You don't want them too far out or you'll have the tendency to want to sag your body. So you can do this on the blade of your right foot if that's where you're at today. Otherwise, your knees are bent, and on your exhalation, lift your hips up. Plug your shoulder onto your back, the right shoulder, and make sure that your top hip is directly over your bottom hip. So we have the tendency sometimes to roll back because it makes it easier, but stacking your hips and then just embracing that sensation of like maybe there's a sling underneath you that's just effortlessly lifting you skyward. Your top arm can go wherever you'd like on your hip. It can lift skyward. You can use it for support. Breathing, coming down whenever you need to, but really engaging thoroughly through the underside of your body if you're up, trying to distribute the work all the way from your knee to your shoulder and coming down when you're ready. All right, switching sides. So left elbow underneath left shoulder, plug your shoulder blade in, knees bent. Inhale the breath. Exhale that sensation that we did at the beginning of class where we exhale all the breath and feel the contraction of our abdomen as we lift up. So everything is hugging in as if there was a pole going right up the middle of your body and all of your muscles were hugging toward that pole. Breathing, doing whatever you like with the top arm, stacking your hips. Noticing if you're losing the integrity of the posture, if you feel like you're sagging down, then come on down. You can always come back up or just rest. Meet yourself where you're at today. And then we'll lower down. All right, so a couple more things to really get those muscles turned on. Come down onto your back now. And the soles of your feet are on the mat, hip width distance apart, as comfortably close to your seat as you can. And then let your arms be relaxed beside you. And just take a few pelvic tilts. So on your inhale, your pubic bone moves forward and down, creating more space between your back and the mat. And on your exhale, your tailbone moves skyward as you press your low back into the mat. Inhale, rocking forward. Exhale, rocking back. Inhale forward. Exhale back. And then find neutral, so where maybe one hand can slide underneath the small of your back. And then on your next inhalation, lift your hips up. Your arms can stay by your sides, relaxed, or you can walk your shoulder blades under if you like. Bend at the elbows, 90 degrees. And then on your exhalation, draw your right knee toward your chest. And then on your inhale, lower down, not rolling through the spine, just lowering right down onto the sacrum, the flat bony part above your tailbone, and then switch sides. So exhale, now bringing your left knee toward your chest as you lift your hips. Inhale, lower down. Exhale, press down into your left foot, really in the front part of your heel. Send the work into your glutes, lower down. Just going back and forth slowly. So being very mindful about the movement, using the entire length of the exhalation to bring you up and the entire length of the inhalation to bring you down. Pressing down into the backs of your arms, if you wish, and finding that balance between effort and ease. So where do you need to send the effort and where can you relax? Are you holding the tension in your neck or your jaw? See if you can focus the effort where you want it. In this case, in the glutes or maybe in the backs of the shoulder blades as they help you lift. Pressing down into your heel. If you get any cramping sensation in your hamstrings, then just don't lift as high. Taking a few more of these if you wish. And then lowering down, releasing, maybe taking your knees wide and doing windshield wiper action with your knees, with the breath. All right, and then roll onto one side. Use your arms and your abdominal muscles to help push you up. And we'll come to standing now. So we've woken up the major muscle groups of the body, our shoulders, our glutes, our stabilizing muscles. I just want to do one more thing for our shoulders, which are letdowns at the wall. So think of these a little bit like push-ups, but not really, because the whole idea is that we're taking these very slowly. So bring your hands to the wall. Walk yourself back so that you feel your body weight leaning into the wall. Turn your fingertips in just slightly, hands at chest level, and then with a plank body, as you inhale, bring your forehead in the direction of the wall. Squeeze your shoulder blades together and then slowly push away. So we're not trying to get any particular number of reps in. We're just noticing all the magic in the middle of the end points of this. Forehead moves toward the wall. See that your bum's not sticking out. Squeeze your shoulder blades. And then push the wall away. Do a few more of those. See if you can really lengthen the breath and use that entire breath for the movement. So there's no race, no need for speed, just noticing and listening, observing. Feel free to adjust your hands if for any reason it doesn't feel comfortable. And then release your hands down. And we'll find Tadasana. So check down at your feet. See that the outer edges of your feet are lined up with the outer edges of the mat. Big toes slightly together, heels slightly apart. And then again, closing your eyes if you feel balanced, or just softening your gaze. Shift your weight 2/3 into your heels. Really press down through the front of your heels so your legs are straight and strong. And then spiral your inner thighs behind you, like you're tightening your femurs, your thigh bones into the sockets of your pelvis so that you come into this natural curve of your low spine. Inhale your shoulders over your hips. Lift the crown of your head skyward. Rooting down, reaching up. Breathing. And then open your eyes if they're closed. And we'll come into our first wall vinyasa. So first we'll take a down dog at the wall. And I'll give you a bit of instruction as we do the first few of these, and then as we move on and do more, I'll let you, I'll try to shut up and be quiet. All right, so hands in front of you on the wall. Exhale, bring your hips back, coming into an L shape. So moving in the direction of 90 degrees between your torso and your thighs. Feet hip width distance apart. Again, that alignment of outer edges of your feet lined up with the outer edges of the mat. And not going into your deepest stretch right from the beginning. So moving at the speed of your body's tissues, not forcing anything. Push the wall away. And then roll your upper arms in. So you're really pushing the wall away. Your upper arms roll in, and then you squeeze your forearms together like you're holding a beach ball. It's the same action as a down dog on the floor. It's just less load, less pressure in our hands and our wrists, which are not usually doing any weight bearing other than in yoga. And hug your belly organs in. Squeeze your shoulder blades together, soften. And then walk yourself up one step, about a third of the way back to the wall. Bring your hands up to chest height. So you're leaning into the wall, just like we did in those letdowns. And this time we're going to take a chaturanga at the wall, but with our elbows in. So find a good placement for your hands. Squeeze your elbows towards your body. Plank position of your body. Squeeze your shoulder blades as your forehead moves in the direction of the wall. Take it slow. And then bend at the knees. Bring your chest and your chin in the direction of the wall. Knees, chest, chin. And then straighten your legs, straighten your arms. Glance up slightly, bringing your shoulders through, or your chest through your shoulders like an up dog. And then exhale, walk it back to your downward facing dog. And breathe. Pushing the wall away, upper arm bones rolling in, softening through your back body. And then, as you're ready, bend your knees, push off from the wall, hands to thighs. Inhale, push to stand. All right, we'll come into into a high lunge. So moving back to the top of your mat, bringing your hands to your hips if that feels comfortable. You can also bring hands to heart center. Wherever you're at, shifting your weight over into your left foot as you bend your left knee and step back with your right into a high lunge. Feet hip width distance apart, so each foot is in its own lane with the hip that it belongs to. And then as you come into the lunge, imagine that your pelvis is just sinking toward the floor, directly in the space underneath you, but you're resisting that with the top of your right thigh. So we're not hanging in our joints. It's this equal amount of rooting down and engagement. So always finding the mobility and the strength in every posture. Breathe. And then bring your right foot down so that your entire foot is on the floor. Inhale, interlace your arms behind you. Exhale, inhale, lift your chest up, squeeze your shoulder blades together, and then exhale, fold to the inside of your left leg, any amount. So you can widen your stance here if it feels like you want more room to move down between your legs. Breathe. And then inhale your way up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Shifting your weight back onto your right toes and bringing your right foot to meet your left. Take a breath here. Notice how you feel. Notice the difference between the sides. And then shifting your weight over to your right foot, bending into your right knee as you step back with your left foot and melting down right through the center of your pelvis and hugging the front of your left thigh toward the back so that you're countering the downward pressure with strength, with stability. Breathing. And then turn that back foot down towards the floor. Maybe walk the right foot over a little bit to the right. And this time interlace your hands the awkward way. So whichever way was the opposite of what you did before. There's always one way that we tend to favor. So switching that up. Inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, melt down. Breathing. Releasing tension in your jaw. One more deep breath here. And then inhale, coming up, back onto those left toes, hands to heart center, and then stepping your left foot up to meet the right. Coming back into our flow at the wall. So hands to the wall, step it back into your L shape, outer edges of your feet lined up with the outer edges of your mat, feet hip width distance apart. Push the wall away. So really trying to create as much distance as possible between your pelvis and your shoulders without overdoing. Rolling your upper arms in, squeezing your forearms together. Engaging your belly. Breathing. And then walking about a third of the way up. Hands come to chest height. Bringing your elbows down and squeezing toward your body as you exhale. Slow down your chaturanga. Bring your forehead to the wall, plank body. And then bending at the knees, bending at the chest and chin. And then straightening into your legs, into your arms, broadening through the front of your chest. Exhale, step it back, downward facing dog. Breathe. Maybe finding just a little bit more space, a little bit more room with each breath. Letting your focus be the breath. Not judging this practice against practices that you've had in the past. Every day, we meet ourselves where we're at, and then pushing off the wall, bending into your knees. Inhale, come to stand. All right, so now, thirsty. Come into triangle pose. Your right foot comes forward and left foot comes back. And find a good amount of space in between your feet widthwise so that you've got room to move. And your back toes are pointing as far forward as possible. Checking down at your right foot to see that your knee is in line with your second and third toe. So you can even open up that right foot slightly beyond 90 degrees. And then as we move into this, imagine your pelvis moving up and over the heads of your femurs. So we're really focusing on getting length here and reaching before we come down. And you may want to block handy for this so that you have something to put your hand on. Inhale your arms up, engage through that front leg, and then moving your pubic bone down as you reach as far forward as you can. And then bringing your hand to your shin or the blocks. Bring your left hand to your hip, lengthen through the underside of your body, and then open just through your mid back and your left shoulder before lifting your left hand. Keeping your gaze down at the mat or directly ahead of you, not straining the neck by looking up. I know this may be a different sensation than you've had in the past in triangle, but this is very protective of your low back, and you feel the stretch on the inside of your right thigh, most likely, your inner right leg, instead of any pull in your low back. All right, now turn your left hand back toward the wall. Engage your belly muscles. Inhale, come up to stand. Breathe. Notice how you feel. So we're often taught to imagine that our body is between two panes of glass when we're doing triangle. But I want you to experiment with doing triangle this way and notice if you maybe prefer the sensation more. I know I certainly do. All right, so coming now onto the left side, right toes are now pointing as forward as possible. Find a space that works for you. Find the width between your feet. Check the toes of your front leg. See that your knee is tracking between your second and third toe. And inhale your arms up. And then lifting your pelvis up and over as you reach for the wall as far as you can. And then find your shin, right hand to hip. Inhale, really lengthen through the underside of your body. And then inhale, just your shoulder back, your right shoulder. Again, a block right here can give you some added height, always bringing the floor to you when you need it. Inhale that right arm up if it feels good. And always coming out of the pose when it feels best to you. So even if that's before I indicate, listen to your body. Turning your top hand back to the wall behind you, engaging your abdominal muscles as you press into your feet, lift to stand. Take a moment, breathe. Notice how you feel. So coming out of the pose when it feels best to you, so that you leave that feeling in the body and not a feeling of strain. All right, so now come forward into a wide leg forward fold. So your toes or your outer edges of your feet are lined up now with the front and back end of your mat. And your toes are pointed forward. Inhale, that same action. Your pelvis moves up and over. Engage your belly as you move down, not a swan dive. And then you can bring your hands down onto the floor. You can come up on blocks. You can let your head hang and let your hands graze the outside of your ankles, dropping the crown of your head toward the mat. And now shifting your weight more into the front part of your foot than into your heel. Keep your calves engaged so that they're hugging toward your shins, so that you're not hyperextending in the knees. And then when you're ready to come up, hands to hips, press into your feet, engage your abs, come to standing. Breathe. And then turn your heels in, so now your toes are externally rotated, and sit down into a goddess position. Breathing here, maybe bringing your hands to your thighs. Always remembering the goddess that you are. And then maybe dipping one shoulder, next. If it feels comfortable, So you can make this feel more, or you can make the pose more about stretching. You can make it more about strength. You make the call. And then inhale, coming up to stand. And come to face the wall or vinyasa. Hands to the wall, walking yourself back, downward facing dog at the wall. Push the wall away. Walking 1/3 of the way up. Chaturanga. Slow. Knees, chest, chin. Upward dog. Downward dog. Breathing here. When you're ready, bending into your knees, pushing the wall away. Inhale, come to stand. All right. Coming into warrior two, right leg comes forward, left leg comes back. Here you can have heel to arch alignment. And as we come down into warrior two, think of just melting your pelvis down into the space between your legs rather than bending into that front knee. So just melt down. Find the center, not in the past, not in the future, right here in the present. Knee tracking between second and third toes, so it's not heaving in or out. Maybe finding a gaze over your right middle finger, soft through your shoulders. The arms are strong, but your shoulders are relaxed. And then bringing either your elbow to your thigh or down onto the floor, maybe adjusting your stance, coming into side angle pose. Inhale your top arm down and lift it up in front of your face, and then open through your left side of your chest. Really continuing to press down through the outer edge of your left foot as you reach out through your left fingertips, stretching into your side body. Feeling lots of length. And then coming out with strong legs back through warrior two, and draw your hips back, lower your arms. I'm feeling warm. How about you? All right, turning to the other direction. So finding the stance that works for you, a little bit wider than in triangle. Inhale, open your arms. Exhale, coming down. Maybe want to step to the front edge of your mat now so that when we do come down into side angle pose, we are not hitting the wall. Not much of an issue for me, but if you need more space, feel free to even bring your mat a little further away from the wall. Reaching. Finding the effort, finding the ease. And then inhaling up through warrior two, drawing your hips back, letting your arms come down, stepping toward the wall. Take a moment here, just notice how you feel. And then vinyasa, downward dog. Chaturanga. Knees, chest, chin. Up dog action. Exhale, down dog. Breathing. knees, pushing the wall away. Hands to thighs, inhale to stand. All right, so let's move into a couple of balance postures before we move back down onto the floor. So come, with your angle or your elbow at about this angle. So, about a body's width maybe away from the wall, using it for whatever balance support you need. And then finding Tadasana, so outer edges of your feet lined up with the outer edges of your mat, shifting your weight 2/3 into your heels. And then shift your weight over into your left foot. As you inhale, lift your right knee towards your chest and right arm up. And then wherever you're at, without grabbing your foot, open up your knee into a tree pose. So resisting the urge to grab your knee, even if that means you're just down at your calf or even down on the floor. So find the pose that works for you, just not at the knee, anywhere but at the knee. And then you can feel free to play with your balance here, drawing your right foot into your left thigh so everything is hugging toward the midline, finding your breath, finding the abdominal tone to help keep your balance, using the wall as much as you need to. And then bringing your right knee forward, coming down onto both feet. Breathe. Taking our time with all this, there's no rush. Bringing your hand to the wall. And then this time we're going to cross our right ankle over our left thigh for figure 4. So inhale that right knee up and then cross your ankle over your thigh as you begin to sit back into the chair that isn't there. So it's an outer hip stretch on the right side here. And again, this is, use the wall as you need it, trying not to lean into the wall, but using it for support, or you can bring your hands to prayer mudra if that feels steady and stable for you. Trying not to look down right at the mat, keeping the natural curve of your neck. Breathing, slow and steady, not forcing anything. And then inhale, lifting up, using the wall as you need it. Exhale, hands to heart center. All right, other side. Apologize that now I have to face my back to you. Starting with tree. Inhaling, left knee up, grounding down into your right foot. Opening up your left knee as much as makes sense for you today. Playing with the balance, if you wish. You can play with the balance up here as well. Really hugging now your left foot towards your inner right thigh and pressing your inner right thigh into your foot, into the sole of your foot. Finding where you can release. And then drawing the knee back to center, lowering down when you're ready. Take a full breath. And then shifting your weight back over into your right foot, drawing your left knee up as you cross the left ankle now over your right knee and coming down into your figure 4 by bringing your pelvis straight back, being mindful not to tuck your tailbone under and create a rounding in your low back. See if you can achieve that natural curve of your low spine, even if it means you don't come down as far. Always practicing alignment before range. Breathe into the outside of your left hip. And then coming out just the way you came into it. And releasing. All right, last vinyasa. Hands to the wall. Downward dog. Push the wall away. Upper arms roll in. Chaturanga. Slow with the breath. Knees, chest, chin. Up dog, straightening into the legs and arms. Exhale. Down dog. Bending at your knees, hands to thighs. Inhale, stand. All right. I hope everybody enjoyed those standing postures. Let's move on down to the ground. And we will do a reclined knee to chest. So coming down onto your back. Lengthen the space between your low ribs and your sacrum. Extend your left leg out and draw your right knee in. And bring it kind of to the outside of your body so your knee is moving more towards your armpit than right in front of your chest. Feel that compression in the crease of your right hip. Breathe. Slowing everything down. Beginning to release effort. And then bringing that knee back to center, drawing your left knee in, arms out to your sides, and then tip your knees over to the left for a simple twist. Keeping your chin in line with your chest bone. Using your abdominal muscles to come back to center. And switching sides. So now extending your right leg out, drawing your left knee up towards your left armpit. Pressing out through your right foot so that your right leg is engaged. Right knee to meet your left. Arms out, twisting to the other side now. And then coming back to center. Maybe grabbing the outsides of your feet for happy baby. Drawing your knees in the direction of the floor and keeping that awareness of the natural curve of your low back so that you're not rounding your tailbone up toward the ceiling. And letting go of your feet. Taking whatever final movements might feel good to you here. Maybe you want to massage your low back by circling your knees, windshield wipering the legs. Just if there's any last movements before we move into Shavasana, go ahead and take those. And then make your way into whatever Shavasana feels good for you. You can just extend yourself out. If you have it handy, covering yourself with a blanket, maybe placing the bolster under your knees, covering your eyes to block out the light. I'll show you one other little setup that might feel comfortable to you. If you do have a bolster, you can grab those blocks too, if you have those handy. And then tipping your blocks at an angle so that this flat part is on your thigh rather than the edge. And using these as a support for Supta Baddha Konasana with your tailbone close to the bolster and your arms slaying out over the bolster. And just stay here as long as you can. You deserve to rest as much as time allows. Letting your eyes sink deeply into their sockets. Letting your tongue fall away from the roof of your mouth. Releasing any tension in your jaw. Relaxing the muscles of your face, your scalp, back of your neck and shoulders. I'm going to come out now, but if you can linger, please do. When you do come out, roll to your side. Use your arms. Push yourself up. I hope that you enjoyed that practice, that it's a good, maybe provides a bridge to getting back into your practice if you found that that you haven't been able to as much as you would like in recent times. All right, thank you so much for being here with me today. Namaste.